Guys, so over the last 5 years, I've spent $12,000 on fitness coaches so that you don't have to. I took some notes about the 7 lessons that I've learned. Here's what I've learned. Number 1, eating whole foods yields 3 times as good results as if it fits your macros or calorie counting. See, the first time I got a fitness coach towards the end of 2020, I was counting calories. I was doing if it fits your macros, thinking that, you know what, this is the right way to do it, right? A calorie is a calorie. Who fucking cares, right? Guys, my first fitness coach, he put me on a structured meal plan. He told me, yo, Marcos, because that's my actual name, follow this. And I was like, damn, for real? He's like, yeah, stop eating all that processed crap that you're eating, right? In 16 weeks, I went from 250 pounds down to 195, and for the first time in my life, I had abs. And for the first time, I understood why everybody always talks about whole foods. On the internet, you'll hear people say, oh, just calories a calorie, it doesn't matter. That's only the first step. That's the first step when you're taking your baby steps towards your fitness goals, right? But if you actually want to get a ripped 6-pack abs, it's important to eat whole foods because you're not only controlling your insulin levels, your insulin sensitivity, you're actually positively impacting your body composition, right? Because of the insulin sensitivity, because of the types of foods that you're actually eating. Whereas if you're just eating processed junk, you'll get decent results. But I have guys who hit me up all the time. They'll be like, yo, Huncho, I'm getting coached by this guy and your transformations look better than his. Your clients, they always end up having a 6-pack while this guy's not really. Why is that? Bottom line, whole foods and having a structured meal plan that is not just counting calories or just if it fits your macros. That's the first thing that I learned, okay? Second thing that I learned was binging and cheating on your diet and emotional eating is not solved by willpower, bro. It's solved by structure and accountability. You see, when you're doing things on your own and you're having an issue, to stick with your own goals, to stick with your own program that you've set up for yourself, willpower isn't the answer. Because guess what? You've been trying to willpower your way for years and it hasn't been working. You're not able to stay consistent. So what happens when you hire a coach, somebody that you respect and you trust? Not only does he give you a structured plan, right? But I used to think, fuck, man, I don't want to let this guy down. This motherfucker that I respect, that I gave my word to, that I'm going to check in with him every single week. That's what allowed me to actually stay consistent and stop using willpower. And it made the process way easier of actually following a meal plan, burning fat, and getting the physique that I wanted. Because guess what? When I was doing things on my own for a while, bro, even when I had the knowledge, which I'm going to talk about later, it was very hard for me to stick to the certain foods that I knew I should be eating, right? I was having these binges. I was fucking bullshitting around. I wasn't sticking to my plan. So I was like, you know what? Willpower isn't the answer because I've been trying to willpower myself away. Jesus. I've been trying to willpower myself away. What I need is fucking structure. A structured meal plan. You know what I'm saying? So that's the second thing I noticed is, guys, you can have all the willpower and all the discipline you want and try to force it. If it hasn't been working, having a coach, someone that you respect, actually is what made the difference for me of just being able to fucking say bye-bye to the binges, bye-bye to the fucking cravings, and just stick with it and get results, okay? The third thing that I learned, bro, is that if you're eating clean, but you're not losing fat and you're staying fat, that's because you're probably eating too much dietary fats, right? So there was a point in time where I was eating pretty fucking clean, bro. I was eating pretty fucking clean, you know what I'm saying? My whole foods, my single ingredient foods, but I wasn't getting shredded, bro. I wasn't getting shredded. I was eating good. I was eating healthy. I was eating whole foods. But guess what? It wasn't until I hired this one guy, and I'm not going to give his name out here because I don't want to shout out other motherfuckers, right? He saw what I was doing. He saw my plan, and he was like, bro, why are your fats so fucking high, right? So what ended up happening was I actually understood where you're supposed to have your dietary fats at. Because for you guys that don't know, dietary fats, the more that you eat of dietary fats, the more body fat that you will store, right? But you need to have dietary fats in your diet because that's going to be responsible for your testosterone and hormone production, right? So typically speaking, you're going to want to have your dietary fats anywhere from 30 grams at the lowest end all the way up to 70, 75 if you're pushing it. So what happens is the leaner you get, you can start at 70. You're going to want to start dropping the fats as you go along. And the leaner that you get, the lower you're going to want to drop your fats all the way up until getting below 40. And that's going to be at the last point when you're really shredded, getting down to 35 grams of fat a day, even down to 30 grams of fat a day when you're getting that 6-pack shredded look, right? But that's only towards the end. So what I was doing wrong, yeah, I was eating clean, but I was eating too many fats. And guys, if you're eating the traditional balanced macronutrient diet, you want to have your fats at a proper balance, right? So I talk about the 30 to 70 grams range. A lot of you guys are eating above 70 grams, especially if you're eating out. There's all these hidden oils in the food that you're eating. You're not even realizing it. The Chipotles, the fucking, the Chinese food. Oh, I'm eating healthy. I'm eating fucking white rice and chicken and broccoli. Bro, do you understand how many fats that has? Easily in a Chinese food of chicken with white rice and broccoli, you're eating like 40 grams of fat, which is a shit ton of fat. You know what I'm saying? So if you're eating clean and you're not losing fat, please monitor your fat intake, because that's probably why you're not dropping fat. And that was preventing me from actually getting lean and ripped. And when I hired that guy, he actually taught me about the fats and where to have them and how to actually downtrend them properly throughout the entire process. Okay. Now, that was the third thing. Fourth thing, most guys have zero control over their hunger because their meal timing fucking sucks. This is going to be a call out to the guys who do intermittent fasting, because I'll talk to a lot of you guys. You guys will be like, yo, I'm on a fasting regimen. I fasted 16 hours. Yeah, but what happens? You get an uncontrollable binge and you lose all your fucking progress, right? Even when I went from eating 4 to 5 meals a day down to eating 2 to 3 times a day, I noticed that I was a lot more hungrier, that I was having an issue to stick to my meals and my nutrition, okay? So when I hired a coach and he scratched my meal plan, he had me eating 4 meals a day and a shake is what I was doing. And I realized that having those frequent feedings throughout the day, every 3 to 5 hours, was actually allowing me to not get hungry. Even though the portions were smaller, the feedings were more frequent throughout the day, to the point where I was able to get lean and shredded without binging or cheating on my diet, because I wasn't fucking hungry all the time, right? I was having more frequent meals throughout the day, and that's key, okay? Because if you don't do that and you're just eating 2 meals a day, bro, I guarantee you're gonna snack on some bullshit. You're not gonna be able to get lean because you're gonna be too fucking hungry all the fucking time, and eventually your discipline and willpower, like we talked about, is gonna get drained. So I realized, you know what, the best way to do things is eat 4 to 5 meals a day, right? You can even do 3 meals and a shake, as long as you're getting at least 4 feedings a day. That way you're able to combat the hunger and actually stay the course in order to actually get lean and stop fucking wasting progress because you're fucking binging and eating shit you're not supposed to, or overeating calories, okay? Now, the fifth thing that I noticed, bro, check this out, is the body transformations. They happen from 20% body fat all the way down to 12% body fat within that range, but most people never get there. That's when you'll start getting the comments of, oh, you're looking skinny, bro. You're looking flat. You're not filling out your shirt anymore. When I dropped down from 250 to 195 and I was working as a bouncer in the nightclubs, bro, I would get people asking me, yo, do you still lift? Like, dude, are you still in the gym? What's going on? Mind you, I was paying $160 to $180 a week for this nutrition and personal trainer coach. I was spending bread on that shit. I was on point, locked in, kicking ass in the gym, living, breathing this shit. I saw myself getting leaner, but people were asking me why was I looking too skinny and if I was even working out, right? So most people quit when they get to this point, because there's a point when you get flat, but it's necessary in order to actually burn the fat and make that breakthrough. Okay, it's like an ice. An ice is not gonna melt at 29 degrees. It's not gonna melt at 30 degrees. It's not gonna melt at 31 degrees. As soon as it hits 32 degrees, the ice begins to melt and the breakthrough happens. Same thing, but most people never get to that point. That's why you're probably never lean and you've never gotten lean. Okay, having a coach that was able to tell me, bro, we're on track, we're doing this right, looking at my pictures, seeing that I'm getting leaner, keeping my headspace focused so that I could stay consistent long-term and actually see the results to hit that breakthrough, bro, that's what allowed me to get lean. Because guess what? I have so many guys that will tell me, yo, Huncho, if it wasn't for you, I would have never gotten lean. I would have fucking quit a long time ago. That's kind of why I show you guys the interview of my clients on here. And I always ask them, yo, if you were to do this on your own, do you think you could have done it on your own? Do you think you could have made this transformation like by yourself, bro?
No, honestly, no, because...
Do you really think that you could have achieved this on your own?
No, I've been trying to do this on my own for the past few years.
And every single one of them has said no. Every single one of them has said, no, I could not have done this on this own. I could not have done this on my own, excuse me. Not only because they didn't have the knowledge and the proper guidance, but because they didn't have that mental framework to say, you know what, even though I might feel a little bit flat and people might be telling me I look a little small, I got to block out the nose and stay consistent. And if you do, and if you have that voice, you have that coach that's guiding you through there, that is what allows you to make that transformation between 20% body fat all the way down to 12, because that way is where the magic happens. But that's where most people fucking quit, okay? Now, next thing that I learned, this is point number 6, is, bro, let's be real. If information was enough, you guys would all be ripped. Why? Because I give free information. I give out the free blueprint for everybody to follow, right? But guess what? One of my videos has 80,000 views. about how to get ripped. I tell you exactly how to set up your meal plan, how to set up your macros, where you want your protein, fats, and carbs, how to make adjustments, how to do everything, how to do the cardio, everything, right? But guess what? I guarantee you, out of those 80,000 people, only like fucking maybe 10 to 20 people actually took action, right? Because if information was enough, we'd all be walking around with a six-pack. But guess what? Guys, I've been working out for 10 years. 5 out of those 10 years, I've hired coaches, which is what I'm talking about today. But guess what? Last year when I had my accident and I was trying to get myself back on track because I was eating a bunch of bullshit to numb my pain from the accident and to find some comfort because I was in so much pain and I was being a bitch, right? When it was time to take my neck brace off and get my ass back in the gym and do another transformation for the channel, for myself, I was having a hard time sticking to my nutrition plan. I was having a hard time being consistent because I was going through pain, my body hurt, I was making excuses, I was having cravings and all this shit. So guess what? Even though I had the knowledge of how to get in shape, because I've been doing this for 10 years and I had already had 3 fitness coaches prior to this point, and I was already coaching fitness people getting them results, I couldn't even get myself results because I lacked the accountability. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to put my ego aside and hire a coach. So that transformation you guys saw last year, I hired a coach to do it. Why? Not because I didn't have the knowledge, because I did. It's because I wasn't able to stay consistent and I didn't have the accountability that I needed in order to make the physique transformation, okay? And next time I make a physique transformation, you better bet your ass I'm going to hire a coach, because that is the layer of accountability and commitment that you need to make this shit all the way through and not fail. I was having a hard time fucking sticking to the nutrition plan, bro. Believe it or not. And I was like, yo, I'm going to have to make myself failing an impossibility by getting somebody so I can stay accountable and just follow a structured plan so I can actually make it to the finish line. And guess what? You guys saw the transformation last year and we had a bunch of steroid accusations, right? But guess what? I went 12 weeks without missing a single meal, without eating a single thing off plan, without skipping a single workout. Consistent as fuck, right? And I had the knowledge, but I didn't have the accountability. Okay, so that's one thing I learned about coaching. Like, yo, you can have the knowledge like me, but you know what? Coaching is undefeated because it gives you the accountability necessary to stay consistent and actually get results, right? So that's the 6th thing I noticed. Now, the 7th thing that I learned and that I noticed is the importance of training volume. Guys, most guys that I coach, that I talk to, or even myself before having a coach, I thought that doing 30-minute workouts was enough. And you'll hear people online say this shit. Why? Because they're trying to sell you some bullshit. They're trying to sell you something easy. It's called marketing. It's called they want to take your money. It's called they're going to take your money and not give you results. My job is not to take your money. My job is to tell you the truth so that you can actually change your physique. And guess what? If you're doing 30-minute workouts, I guarantee you will not look good. I guarantee you. Why? Because I was doing it. Why? Because I coach guys who do that shit. And when they stop doing that and come to my program and we increase the training volume, their physique starts to change. They start to develop an aesthetic physique. Why? Because they're simply just not doing enough. You know what I'm saying? They're simply just not doing enough. So when I realized, yo, training volume is important. Training volume is important, man. You want to be doing like 4 minimum exercises, 4 to 6 exercises per workout, 4 to 5 sets, right? And that's a big range because it depends. If you're a beginner, you want to do less. If you're an intermediate, you want to do more. But generally speaking, take a look at your training program right now and understand that what you're doing is not enough. It's probably not enough. And I had a reality check when I hired these coaches because I was like, yo, I've been slacking on my fitness. No wonder I don't look the way I want to, right? And when they gave me the workout plan that was longer, it probably took me like an hour 15, an hour 20 minutes to finish the workouts. Bro, I was seeing my physique transform and change. I was seeing the results, bro. I was getting the compliments. I was getting the stares. And that's one thing I learned is that, guys, you probably not doing enough. You probably need to add more sets. You probably need to add more sets to your training because that's probably what's missing. Think about it like this. If you had the optimal volume for how many sets you're supposed to do, how many reps, if you had the optimal volume and you just executed that week to week, imagine how crazy your physique transformation would be, right? But part of the reason people can't even stay consistent is because they're unsure of what they're doing. They're unsure of what they're doing, right? Just like how I used to be in the past. I wasn't super consistent before having a coach because I didn't know if what I was doing actually worked, if it actually got me results, right? When I had a structured plan that my fitness coaches gave me with higher volume, right, with a structured meal plan, it gave me more commitment and consistency in order to say, you know what, I am 100% sure that this works because I've seen everybody that he's worked with and all these guys are able to do it. Therefore, I can do it too, right? So those are the 7 things that I learned, man. Some of it was diet stuff. Some of it was mindset stuff. Some of it was accountability stuff. But those are the 7 things that I learned after spending pretty much 12 grand on fitness coaches at this point. right? And I'm not stopping, because next time I need to level the fuck up and make another transformation, I'm gonna make damn sure that I get another fucking coach, right? Maybe one of the same ones that I had before, because I want to make sure that I make it impossible for myself to fail and have that extra layer of accountability, so I can have a structured program and be able to actually get it done and not fuck off and just be consistent for a week and then fuck off and then eat some bullshit. Okay, so that was the 7 things that I learned. Let me know if you guys got some value from that, bro. Hit the like button. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Southpaw Huncho checking out. Peace.